Today's first myth came via email, and it raises the question of whether Bobby Keys really shot a golf ball into Keith Richards' breakfast, who then took out a gun and shot it. This story got really big after Keys, who actually played sax for the Rolling Stones, wrote about it in his autobiography that came out earlier this year. As the story goes, Keys was playing golf on the course that was attached to the hotel that the band were staying at the time. He took a shot, it hooked through the woods and landed in Keith's breakfast. Keith then whipped out a .38, shot the golf ball, and made some snide comment about it being a 10-stroke penalty. Whether or not this is actually true happens to lie within two rather questionable sources, that being Keith Richards and Bobby Keys. Neither of them have denied it, and Richards said that it probably did happen and he just doesn't remember it. So there's no way to 100% say this didn't happen, and I for one like to enjoy the idea that it did. My second myth today came via Facebook, and it posed the question of who exactly the lyrics to Pavement's Cut Your Hair were aimed at. Coming from their 1994 Crooked Rain album, this song tears apart the music industry's importance on the image of a band. A lot of people said that the band were writing it directly at a number of the bigger groups at the time. But in so many interviews, Steve Malkmus has said that it's not aimed at any specific group, it's about the industry as a whole. I've heard a lot of people say that this was actually about the time when Metallica decided to cut their hair, but let's just remember that this song actually preceded the Metallica thing by a number of years. This is one big shot at the music industry and the horrible way they operate as a whole, nobody specifically. My final myth today has been around for a while, and I got a number of emails over the last few weeks about it, so it's time to set this one straight. The question is whether or not that's actually System of a Down singing the quirky song about Zelda that circulated the internet for years. This one actually began in the early days of file sharing with services like Kazaa and Napster, and scores of people still believe that this is some sort of odd studio outtake. If you really listen to this voice, it sounds nothing like the guys from System of a Down at all, and it's actually done by a group called the Rabbit Joint out of Boston. I've seen this one be labeled as Nine Inch Nails, Slipknot, and so many other bands. It's none of them. This was just a goofy song that a group did, and it has nothing to do with any major band. So those are my myths for this week. Be sure to check back here every Friday as I delve into some of the coolest stories in music history. If you've got a myth you want me to check out, you can email it to me at thedailyguru@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter and Facebook right here, and I'll see you guys again next time.